Unopera. I don't know what is wrong with people. This is God already promising not to defend you. So when you see him coming, surrender. And it was because of that kind of a prophecy that Zedekiah said, you prophet, you deserve to be arrested. Arrest this guy. And he was arrested because of that kind of a prophecy. And it was during that time when Jeremiah was now in prison that the word of the Lord came again in that same prison. This is God now, not even looking at where you are. As broke as you are and as bound as you are, the voice of God is coming to you now. And God said to Jeremiah, there is a man by the name Hanamel, the son of Shalom, your uncle. He's gonna come to you and strike a deal. He's going to ask you to buy his land, his property. This is the voice of God coming to a man who is not running any business. He's in a prison. The situation is not conducive. There is no sign that you can acquire a property. You are in financial bondage. There is no money, there is no business, there is no inflow, cash flow, whatever it is. And all you have now is the voice of God coming to you. Already you can see, number one, the seller has been provided. You are not going to initiate that. God is going to raise somebody. Listen, I don't know so if God is saying there is, okay, you can sit down. There is Hanamel. I'm going to cause him to just start feeling like selling. And the first person that is going to think of is you, my prophet. He's not going to prefer any other businessman. He's going to come either to the prophet or to the son of the prophet. He is the son to Shalom, your uncle, which means, I think he was his nephew. He's going to come to you and propose that you buy his piece of land. And Jeremiah said, after I had heard from the Lord, when it was now visiting hour and people were coming in, I saw this young guy coming to me. And during our conversation, he started something which was no longer a surprise to me. He said, I've got a piece of land that I would want you to buy. And I'm in prison. I'm in prison. They talk to you and they give you offers. Listen. And when you look at your situation yourself, you are in prison. But when they look at you, they see a potential buyer. Have you ever experienced that kind of a life? Whereby it is only you who knows what you are going through, and the rest of the people, They think that you have all that it takes to make it. Have you ever had people coming to borrow money from you? You visit them. Before you can ask for money, they're already asking you for money. Why? Because your prison is not visible to them. Because when they look at you, even if they can see that you are in prison, but they know that your God is never going to keep you there forever. What does that mean? When you are in a prison and you think you are going to die in prison, and God advises you to buy a property, what other prophecy do you need? When you are in a place, listen to me. When you are in a place, sit down. When you find yourself in a situation where you think, I'm going to die here, and God tells you, there is a property that I would want you to develop. What does that mean? It means you are never going to die in that situation. Properties, listen, the stand, the field was bought during crisis. Because when it is crisis moment, because listen, obviously every other person would want to sell his piece of land. Why? Because of the war that is coming. The disaster that is coming. So people, they look at their properties and they say, they no longer see value. Why should I keep it? When everything is turning upside down. It was that same time when God said to Jeremiah, it is time to get a piece of land. When property value is going down. When other people are losing hope. When they say we shall never recover as a nation. I pray for somebody here. Before our economy can recover, you shall possess your possessions. You shall possess your possessions. You may be seated. 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 I've already placed a time limit there. Okay. Before things can be right with every other person, it shall start with you. Now, can you see this? Because I don't want you to wait for any other moment. If only I can find somebody in prison. God raises a seller, not when you are out of that prison, but when you are still in. Have you seen that when you don't have money like now, you come across a lot of opportunities? As if they know that you are in prison. Financial bondage. You look at it so and you cry. If I had money, if I had money. Some of you, from that same prison, you will be buying. And the word of the Lord came. And I saw Hanamel coming. And he said, I have this property that I'm selling. And I thought of you. I don't know those of you that find it difficult to believe that God wants his prophets to be blessed. He's coming to a prophet, and God had already advised his prophet to buy that piece of land. Which means I'm supporting you. That's what God is saying.